home training. Today we're going to look at a couple of desk stretches, some releases from the work that you might be doing, perhaps prolonged sitting, keyboarding, texting. These stretches will address the movement of your thoracic spine. A tight thoracic spine can lead to a very stiff rib cage. A stiff rib cage is going to limit the ability of the lungs to expand on those deep breaths. The movement of the diaphragm muscle, the breathing muscle, is enhanced when we have more dynamic mobility through our intercostals and rib cage. So there's multiple reasons to do this. As we think about a pandemic and respiratory illness, we all can really work on that vital capacity, the deep breathing. Not to mention, it's going to help refresh you, leave you more cool, calm, and collected if you focus some on the deep breathing. So the first stretch is that of a clock stretch. We're going to use it for my shoulder here, pretending that 12 o'clock, right here at the top of the wall, is where my hand begins. At the same time, I want to maintain a square frame with my ribs to my hip bones. The hip bones are pointed straight forward. I'm going to put a little pressure into the wall. I'm going to be mindful of lengthening through the crown of my head, of trying to maintain. And it's tough, because right now my hips want to do this. And because I'm stretching my shoulder the same way, that's a huge stretch. However, my body can tolerate it. You're going to have to find the distance that suits your body. You may need to have a little bit of softness in the elbow. It may not be as big of a range of motion as mine is. So do what feels best to your body. I'm continuously putting some pressure into the wall. I also notice, of course, that with that limb pressing into the wall with that energy, my core is constantly firing and stabilizing. So it may not look like this is an abdominal core exercise, but it truly is. And I'm bringing that hand all the way down to 6 o'clock. And notice too here, the position of your wrist. You're getting a great forearm wrist extension, wrist dorsiflexion here to help restore some of the movement in your forearms. After you do that stretch, you'll notice my right hand, my right shoulders, everything, the fascia connective tissue has lengthened. So my right side feels a little longer than my left, which is why I'm going to even myself out, moving to the opposite wall, finding again, gentle pressure, feeling square through my hips and shoulders. You know, and in some cases, I've had some people say that they are exercising more than usual during this quarantine, and they're suffering from tight hips, from tight shoulders. So exercise is great, but it needs to be done in moderation, and you need to make sure you're balancing your workout in order to restore your alignment. If the exercise is infringing on your ability to sit cross-legged with your kids and play board games, you know, there might be some yoga type stretches, some Pilates, some movements that you need, and these types of movements would help balance out your body. So be mindful of what you do during the day and how it might be affecting overall. So I just completed from 12 o'clock to 6 o'clock on my left side. I hold up my hands, my arms, and now they're the same length again. So I've rehydrated that connective tissue, the fascia that holds us all together from head to tail. Second one for your shoulders, for your pecs, for your chest is, I call it a stop sign. You're holding up like a crossing guard would, a stop sign. I'm externally rotated in my shoulder. You want to maintain that external rotation. Technically, I could put my palm down and still be externally rotated through my shoulder, but if you're tight in the shoulder, you might find just keeping that pinky edge on the wall is ideal. Take some breaths here. Feel that sideways expansion of the rib cage, of the intercostals, and then gradually begin moving your torso. I'm just pivoting my feet, my hips, my chest away from my shoulder. This is a great place to, again, focus on the deep breath, because now I've introduced some rotation of that rib cage, and the ability of that rib cage to expand is a little bit different in rotation than it was in that straight frontal plane. And then I come back in and give it a shake. We'll do that to the opposite side. Now, go easy with yourself. You don't want to feel numbness, tingling, pins and needles, and the shoulder is sensitive, right? It's there's a lot of nerves. They call it the thoracic outlet. There's an exit point for a lot of nerves, and they can very easily be compressed supposed to feel good, right? We want to try to feel good to restore some balance physically, emotionally during this time, and then let that go. So those were two stretches for the shoulders, for the chest, for the pecs a bit. A nice way to integrate those movements is the thoracic wall stretch. So I'm going to place my palms on the wall, actively pressing into the wall, stepping back with my legs until I have found a 90-degree hinge. I feel like the letter L. Check in with your feet here. It might be easy to roll out to the edges of your feet. See that you have the tripods of the foot on the wall or on the floor there, nice and grounded, equal weight. Are your toes level? Is one hip further back than the other? Try to square yourself up there. Now, if that's too big of a stretch, move the arms down a little bit. More level to the ears. Breathe there. As you breathe, notice the movement of your ribs, notice the movement of the belly. Gently melting the chest towards the ground. You have the option here of thinking of maintaining the connection of your ribs towards the pelvis, the ribs to the back wall. So connecting. I can also just allow my ribs to arch, taking myself into a bit more sway of my back. So moving through these breathing exercises, just taking notice of where the stiffness might rest, what you could soften here. I can soften my knees a little bit. Also, adding in a little pelvic tilt of lumbar flexion and extension. Exhale, gently curl the tailbone. Inhale, gently reach the tailbone. You could let your head just relax down. Or you could work on that head ramping, drawing the chin back a bit, feeling the throat kind of support the back of the neck. So a lot of movement happening there, even though it appears to be a pretty stable shape. So the last little micro break I'll share with you is a lateral stretch. I like to use my yoga block for this. It's not necessary. However, since I have it, I'm going to use it as a placement. You go back to those original stretches, how we did our clock stretch, how we did our crossing guard stretch. Your hip bones are shining forward. The outer arm lifts up by the ear, maybe a little head ramp here. Can I gently draw my belly back? And I want to keep animating, keep energizing the side of the body here as I lengthen into a little bit of spinal side bending. And then just breathe there. I can take a mental note. Maybe close your eyes and just notice, where are my fingers? How high are they up the wall? This might be a stretch you want to repeat, and you might notice that you get a little bit more length, and then bring it back up. Let's do the opposite side. So if I wasn't using the block, if you don't have a block, what we're trying to avoid is the lateral shifting of the hips. I want to keep my hips still, lengthen that outer arm, connect ribs to side body, and as I side bend here, this hip point is my fixed point from which I'm stretching, from which I'm animating and energizing the side body. And then just breathing there. I'm rooting gently through that outer heel, feeling the energy into the earth as well as the energy up to the sky. And then bring it back up. Awesome. Okay. So the last one I would share and encourage you to do is a wall squat. So walking those feet out, bringing your hips down, maybe you can get to about 90 here. And even in this position, free up the pelvis. Curl into some flexion, curl into some extension. Now, you might find that the back of the skull can easily just rest on the wall. If you tend to be more forward posture, you might just have to find what feels natural to you, not overly stress. But if your head's resting on the wall, that's great. If it's not, that's fine too. Just find where it can be pretty natural. And then move into your pelvis rocks, curling and arching. Still feeling my broadness of my back body, of my shoulder blades onto the wall, and then come to neutral. Here in neutral, bring the elbows in towards the wall. Okay, let's experience a little bit of external rotation here. So letting those forearms pivot, elbows stay on the wall. As if I was holding a TheraBand, I'd be stretching that TheraBand and returning. Still feeling head to tail alignment, not overarching my back, just in neutral. And then bringing it back in. A little bit of posterior pressing. So using my posterior deltoid to press into the wall, thinking of my collarbones expanding, that skin gently stretching. We want our back body and our front body to feel equal in width. I could also just bring my arms down, pressing the arms into the wall. And then turn your palms forward. Same idea, just press into the wall. And release. And bring yourself back up. So when I talk about the symmetry of the back body, front body, we know there's a tendency to go forward head, heart back, shoulders round. This is where we find ourselves. My yoga instructor calls it the keyboard asana. We do not want that to be a yoga pose. Instead, gently ramp back so that your head is behind your heart. There's a sense of leading with the heart, lengthening through the crown of the head, and just restoring the symmetry between the front and the back body. Have a great day. I hope you're feeling well. Check back. We'll add some additional stretches that you can use periodically. Take your mini micro breaks. Don't get stuck in any one position. Thanks for being here.